Hi folks, how we doing today? Oh, this is exciting. I am live both days of the weekend. It's really happy. It's really exciting. Sometimes I just feel like it's a lot easier for me to stream like midday on a Sunday than it is Monday night. So sometimes I like to kind of do that instead of my Monday night stream, but we'll see who stops by. I know a lot of people are just kind of lazing about on Sunday, so hopefully you'll hang out with me. I have more Pokemon music in the background of this ranking stream today. I have some more Braxton Burke, some Eric Buckholtz as well. It looks like it's just those two fellas on this Pokemon Reorchestrated. It's called Pokemon Reorchestrated Double Team. Let me type that in. There we go. All right, so we are back here with another ranking stream. I'm extremely excited today because we're going to get into some stuff that will be very spoilery for our Legends Arceus playthrough that we're currently doing. Some stuff that I have not gotten to, so I will be issuing multiple spoiler warnings. Because if you've never played Arceus before and you're playing through with me, I don't want to spoil anything. So I will keep that in mind. But before we get to our next block of Pokemon for our list, I wanted to just recap the last 10 that we did last episode, last week, I think. Okay, so here at 130, we have Noivern. Are we? Yes, okay. At 130, we have Noivern, iconic Ash Pokemon. At 129, we have Persian, big Giovanni Pokemon. At 128, we have Mudkip absorbing that resume of Swampert. At 127, we have Kingdra with those iconic Gym Leader Ace Pokemon. At 126, we have Bidoof, great HM and Doofy Pokemon. We have Aegislash at 125. Featured on Vikstrom and Leon's team. At 124, we have Jirachi, one of my all-time favorite mythicals. At 123, we have Poliwhirl, a mascot of Pokemania. At 122, we have Kangaskhan, Giovanni, and Safari's own staple, iconic Mega Evolution. At 121, we have Sudowoodo, one of the great static encounters of all time. And then, of course, at 120, we have one of my very favorite Pokemon of all time. You see him in the background there. We have my boy, Smeargle, with his iconic gimmick of being able to sketch anything. All right, so that's our last 10. I'm not going to be recapping the whole thing like I've been doing. But let's get into this. So, I'm going to say again, I took a peek at our next block for this round of our ranking, and there are a ton of spoilers specifically for Pokemon Legends Arceus. So if you have not played Pokemon Legends Arceus, please be warned, there are spoilers coming because I cherish this game and I would not want to ruin this for other people. It just kind of so happened that we landed on these Pokemon before we were able to finish the game. So again, if you have not played, be warned, spoilers for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and spoilers for any Pokemon game. All Pokemon games are fair game on this list, so you've been warned. I love you all. Let's go. At number 119, we have Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus. This is one of those areas where I'm taking some creative freedom. Because if you recall, Mudkip kind of absorbed the resume of Swampert. On some of these, I have elected to put more than one Pokemon for one slot, because I feel like there's not quite enough separating them, but they do all deserve a mention on the list. So Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus is a big example of this, and we'll get into that now. So, as you can see, we have these three Pokemon here. They're all, like, very similar, kind of like genie vibes. They're called the Forces of Nature, and I don't really like these designs. I think these designs are considered pretty weak overall, which could be a reason they would not be included on the list, but they get really cool alternate forms, and that's going to be a big point in their favor. Like, this is Landorus, his Therian form, or Terrian form. Really, really cool. I think such a major improvement on the Genie. So this is for Landorus. We have Thundurus here, probably my favorite. Oh, I love, like, the claws. This is probably my favorite of the Therian forms for these three Pokemon. And then finally, we have Tornadus, probably my least favorite, kind of the bird here. But still solid. I think still better than the Genie design. These alternate forms really, really punch up these Pokemon and make them favorites. For those of you that don't know, these Pokemon were introduced in Generation 5. And I say they have good lore. They are like forces of nature. It's kind of in the name. You got Thundurus for like thunder and rain, Tornadus for the wind, Landorus for the land, you know. And they are featured in Pokemon Legends Arceus. You can catch all three of these Pokemon in Legends Arceus, which is one of the main reasons I decided that I wanted to include them. The fact that we could kind of pool all three of their resumes together kind of helped them land on the list. And the fact that they are catchable in Legends Arceus with some pretty memorable encounters is very, very cool. We have yet to encounter them in our playthrough. But all of that, they get a new member added to the group. And this new member is infamous because it looks kind of like them. This is our new friend Enamorus. It is very, very polarizing. People really don't like Enamorus. It is kind of like the love and attraction force of nature. And as you can see, the design isn't quite like the other three. You like that they decided to make it look a little different because the other three look so similar, but then that also kind of like throws off the symmetry that they do have going for them. So Enamorus is very polarizing. And I will show Enamorus's Therian form because this thing ugly, man. I hate this. Oh, the turtle. We try to be very, very bright and positive on this channel, but I really do not like the turtle Enamorus. I just think it looks really awkward. It could have looked way, way cooler, in my opinion. I don't hate that it's a turtle in general, but I just think it looks really awkward and weird. But that kind of gives these Pokemon like a level of infamy, you know, that I think is really fun and really memorable. I know that these Pokemon are cherished because the Gen 5 games are so cherished. The Gen 5 games are games that I have kind of talked about as not being my favorite. I don't really like them. They kind of were at my kind of like breaking point with the franchise when I was like late high school. I thought I was too cool and I couldn't play Pokemon anymore. I didn't really like the designs. And I think that was the case for a lot of people. But as the years have gone on, Gen 5 has really, really gained a following and has become a beloved entry in the franchise. And we'll play it eventually on this channel. Because, like I said, it's probably my least favorite generation. But I would love to revisit it with fresh eyes with you all. So, all that to say, Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus are our number 119 in the list of 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. You could say that they are probably my personal least favorite Pokemon on this list, but I just really felt like they needed a shout, especially given their feature in Arceus and the fact that they gained a new member. Well, all right. What is this song? This is Golden Horizons. I love it, Eric. Okay. So, moving on. At number 118, we have Shaman. Oh, we love Shaman. More Legends Arceus stuff here. So, Shaman was featured in a movie, Giratina and the Sky Warrior. The Sky Warrior being Shaman's awesome alternate form here. One of the great things Shaman has going for it is its design. Its original design is this cute little hedgehog with the flower on the side there. And then it also gets this also super cute, way cooler, like sky version. It kind of flies on those little wings there, little ear wings. The design is a huge, huge reason I decided to include Shaman. And again, has those two forms. We love to see it in the iconic design. And it is featured in that Giratina movie, Giratina and the Sky Warrior. It is an iconic mythical Pokemon. It has two great features. So I talked about how its two forms were a big reason I decided to include it. There was kind of like a round of mythicals that... The mythicals that I included on this list were the mythical Pokemon that still had a level of mystique to them, because I feel like more recent mythicals don't really get that, because a lot of them are received via just kind of like flippant whatever mystery gifts. But these older mythicals had way more memorable methods of receiving them. So, for example, there are two ways that I love that you can get Shaman. I'll talk about Legends Arceus first because I freaking love that game. If you recall, in the Obsidian Fieldlands, there's a little field of flowers that is dead. And as we get along further in the game, we'll see that there is a way to obtain Shaman, and Shaman can revive that field of flowers, and it's so, so wonderful. I can't wait to experience that with you all. But if you recall our Pokemon Platinum playthrough, when we go through that extra level of Victory Road with Marley and you get to the end, you get to this white rock. Back in the day, if you got this key item called Oak's Letter and you took it to that rock, it could open up an alternate path, a beautiful path, a field of flowers to help you obtain Shaman. And these distribution event items to help get these mythical Pokemon were so awesome and iconic in their day. And some of them didn't even come to the West, like they were Japan only. So it made these Pokemon so exclusive and so cool, and Shaman was really one of the last of that era. So I really wanted to shout Shaman out for that. Love that design, love the way that you obtain it. Kind of like one of the last mythical Pokemon with true mystique, in my opinion. Alrighty. So let's keep moving. Welcome if you're just joining us. Again, I will add one more spoiler warning for Pokemon Legends Arceus, because if you have not played it, or if you have not gotten with us, there's going to be some things that we have not yet encountered in our playthrough. All right, here we go. So, at number 117, we have Manaphy. I talk about how mythical Pokemon had very exclusive ways to retrieve them back in the day, and Manaphy is probably one of the most extreme examples. You could get a Manaphy egg from the DS game Pokemon Ranger, and there was only one Manaphy egg per copy of the game. So you couldn't, restart it and get another Manaphy egg. It was per copy. And that is just crazy exclusive, and you'd have to move that egg over to your Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum game. But let's see. Give me 1 second. Oh, this music is fire. Yes, that is amazing. Okay. me. Alrighty, so we have that really awesome exclusive way to retrieve it from Pokemon Ranger. And I say iconic rarity because that was the only way to get it back in the day, is that you had to trade that Manaphy egg from that cartridge. And again, once you played through the game, you couldn't get the egg again when you restarted the game. It's not like how you can get, multiple legendary Pokemon if you keep restarting the game. You know what I mean? And then it's also the star of Pokemon Ranger in the Temple of the Sea. It's really, really interesting for that because it has this cool lore, and I'm trying to kind of explain how that is. It's kind of like... Well, let me explain it this way. We have this unique encounter in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and we'll get to this in our playthrough. We actually do have the mission already, where you can encounter Manaphy in the Cobalt Coastlands. But to do so, you have to have 3 specific Pokemon with you in your party. You have to have Weasel, Mantike, and Overquill. And when you have those Pokemon, you can encounter Manaphy in the Coastlands. So no matter what game it's in, it has a really interesting method of obtaining it. And it was so close between Manaphy and Shaman. I gave Manaphy the edge just because that rarity is just so crazy. And I mean, Shaman is too, but I love the way they decided to do that. And the thing about Manaphy, making it even more exclusive, you could not breed it. If you hatched that Manaphy egg from Ranger and you wanted to breed another Manaphy, you could only breed a different Pokemon called Fion, a very similar Pokemon to Manaphy, but not exactly alike. As you can see, they're just a little bit different. Like, oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Like, up here is Manaphy, and then down here is Fion. Very similar Pokemon, but just a little bit different. Fion's a little bit weaker. It's kind of like a baby version of Manaphy in some ways, but it doesn't evolve into Manaphy. It's really, really interesting. And I don't know why they decided to do that. I think there is a reason based on what it's based on. I think it's something called perhaps like a sea angel. It's kind of like a jellyfish, like a deep sea weird, like translucent jellyfish type thing. Sea angel. Yes! So this is kind of what Manaphy is based on. This kind of like glowing jellyfish thing. It's kind of weird. And I don't know if there's some kind of like breeding quirk with that real life animal, which is why they decided to make Manaphy not be able to breed itself. But all of that to say, it adds such a cool level of mystique and kind of... Manaphy is such a great oddity in the Pokemon series, and one of the more memorable mythicals for that reason. It keeps that like pixie vibe that you get with like a Jirachi or like a Shaman, and we love that. And the last thing I wanted to shout, it's got a great art rare in Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith / V-Star Universe is just one of my favorite sets ever. Definitely one of the best modern sets ever. Oh, and as you can see underneath, you got some Pyukumuku, you got some Bruxish. This is definitely an Alola, it appears. Marini, yeah, those are all Alolan Pokemon. Love this artwork for Manaphy. Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to think if there's other key cards for Manaphy, but this is really the one I can think of. So you put that all together, and Manaphy is one of the weirder Pokemon I decided to include on this list, but it's really memorable for that. It's a great Pokemon, an odd timestamp in Pokemon history, and we love our old mythicals for that. So 117, we have Manaphy. Let's move on. At number 116, we have Pichu! Hey! Pichu gets an inclusion here. If you are connected to Pikachu, you're probably in. Any connection to Pikachu is, you can ride that little mouse's coattails onto my list. And that is the first thing I wrote on this resume, connected to Pikachu. But Pichu does have some great things going for it in its own right. It has an iconic variant. And forgive me, I don't remember exactly how you obtain this variant, but this was a Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver exclusive gift Pichu. It had this little spiky ear. I remember there was a little cutscene that happened in the Ilex Forest, and that was how you obtained this Pichu. Really, really cool. Really, really exclusive distribution type thing. Once again, Gen 4 was kind of the last bastion for that. So, also big thing here, featured in Super Smash Bros. And not only that, it was featured in Super Smash Bros. As early as Melee. That was the second Smash Bros. Game. And at that time, the only other Pokemon you could play as were Pikachu and Mewtwo. So Pichu got like that coveted third spot in the original Smash Bros. Games. There are several more Pokemon you can play as in Smash Bros. Now, but Pichu was one of the first inclusions outside of Pikachu and Mewtwo. So that's really, really cool. Excuse me. It's featured in movie shorts, I think, about the Pichu brothers. I think that was before the third movie, if I recall. I don't remember, because I know that there was like the Pikachu's Vacation thing that was before Pokemon the movie 2000. I don't remember if Pichu was in that. But there was a Pichu brothers short before Pokemon the third movie, which was a big highlight for Pichu. And honestly, Pichu has some great TCG cards. One of my favorite cards. Look at this. It's so simple. You just get that simple Ken Sugimori art, but that background, the colors of the background, that holofoil, it's just so vibrant, so delightful, very nostalgic, but just stands on its own. I love this Pichu card. One of my favorite holos in Neo Genesis. Also love that move. Zap! Amazing. Love this Pichu card. There's another big promo, I believe, in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I don't know why it auto-corrected that to Michu. And I'm going crazy. Let's see. Yes, there it is. I think there is a holo promo of this card. But if we keep looking, we have this Aquapolis holo. Another gorgeous artwork for Pichu. Let's just look at that. My picture's a little bit blurry, but again, these e-reader sets had a lot more license to play with their artwork, and it's so funny. This juxtaposed against the Neo Genesis artwork, which is literally just taking the Sugimori artwork and putting a beautiful holo background behind it. This has a lot more personality, but I love both cards. And Pichu, again, resume might seem a little bit slight, but being connected to Pikachu and having that Smash Bros. Appearance early on is really what let Pichu rise up the ranks on this list. I think 116 is a perfectly appropriate placement for our little pal Pichu. A lot of P alliteration for you guys today. But let's go ahead and move on. So, at number 115, we have Arbok. I feel like I was surprised at how high I decided to put Arbok, but if you just think about its connection to Jessie in the anime alone, that is a huge, huge thing and made it very iconic. It's one of the iconic Team Rocket Pokemon. And Team Rocket, as we see with the new TCG sets that are coming out now, Team Rocket's forever, baby. Everybody loves that evil team, and Arbok is one of its faces, at least in the original games. So Arbok gets its place here at 115. So I say featured Pokemon of Jessie in the Pokemon anime. As you know, Jessie starts out with an Ekans, and then it quickly evolves into Arbok later. We love. It's the original Snake Pokemon. That cannot be understated. Ekans and Arbok, it's literally Snake and Cobra backwards. There are other Snake Pokemon that we love, like Seviper. Seviper, I believe, got an honorable mention. But Arbok was the original. And I feel like it's really due for something like a form or a mega evolution or something. And if there are leaks of that, don't tell me, or don't tell my comments, please, because I like to remain unspoiled. And so we talk about it being a featured Pokemon of Jessie in the anime. It is still a Team Rocket staple just in general. It is featured on Jessie's team in Pokemon Yellow, as we experienced, because Jessie and James are actually incorporated into the Yellow games. It's also a big Team Rocket Pokemon, specifically in Gold and Silver and Crystal. We love it for that. And it gets its own holographic card in the Team Rocket set. Ooh, that is very close, but I love this Dark Arbok card. I love that golden background. I think that illustration is really cool. It has a lot of personality. I love that bright red design. It looks so, so great. Dark Arbok. You love it. Gosh, I love this artwork. Hi, Zucifer. You are so right. Seviper could never be as iconic as Arbok, and we love Seviper. And Jessie had a Seviper as well. But Arbok is king, you know? More TCG stuff. Arbok is featured in the Fossil set. This is just one of the original WotC Wizards of the Coast sets. I wanted to shout out its appearance in Fossil, one of the first 3 sets that we got. And it has a really cool... I had this pulled up. A really cool new art rare in Temporal Forces. If you look here, it is about to sneak up on this poor toucan and maybe eat it. I love this Arbok in the jungle look. And, again, and if I'm not mistaken, Arbok gets a feature in New Pokemon Snap, probably in that jungle area. But, so we have these last couple bits. It is a member of Agatha's Elite Four team 3 times. It gets featured on Agatha's team in the Gen 1 games. It gets featured in the Gen 3 games, and it still keeps its spot on Agatha's team in the Let's Go games. So Arbok is featured on an Elite Four team in 3 different generations. So I feel like people kind of forget that, because Arbok is not that strong of a Pokemon, but it does get a lot of features in the Pokemon League, which we love. And also, I wanted to throw this in. There is a part in the Pokemon manga where I don't know hardly anything about the manga, but I do know there's a part where there's an Arbok that gets like cut in half like violently by like a Scyther or a Kabutops or something. And I just wanted to shout that out because I know that that's like insane and like way more violent than Pokemon would ever usually be. You are so right about that, Zucifer. I think Koga could use an Arbok. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he has one on his Let's Go team. Because his Let's Go team, I want to say, is Golbat, Weezing, Muck, Venomoth. That sounds right to me. I guess they just decided to save Arbok for Agatha in Kanto, so they didn't want Koga to have one. I feel like maybe he could have had one in Gold and Silver and Crystal, though. Even though I think his Gold, Silver, Crystal team is perfect. Perfect. Character-wise. It's not that strong, but character-wise, Koga has one of the greatest NPC teams ever, in my opinion. But that's a discussion for another day. So you put all that together, and Arbok is one of the surprise climbers on this list. It is at 115, and I think that's a good spot for it. Let's keep moving. Also, thanks for being here, Zucifer. It's good to see you. Let's keep rolling. Where are we here? We're here on Melancholy Path. And this is the last song on our playlist. So let's go somewhere else. Let's just go back to our Johto Legends playlist. I love this album so much. Pleasure as always. Thank you. All right. So, let's keep moving. We have number 114 on our list is Spiritomb. And again, Arceus spoilers, please look away if you don't want to know. But Spiritomb is a member of Champion Cynthia's team in the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum games. It is the iconic lead Pokemon, and it was especially cool in Generation 4 when it was introduced because it was a dark and ghost type, and it had no weaknesses when it debuted, so it was that perfect kind of like feel you out Pokemon that Cynthia would use to lead. One of the iconic lead Pokemon ever for a champion, or an NPC, I think. Spiritomb is great for that reason. We have its iconic rarity. The odd Keystone quest in Generation 4 is insane, where you had to go into the underground and talk to 31 people, I believe. And that is how you could get Spiritomb to appear in the odd Keystone at like the Hollowed Tower. Yes, a lead Pokemon with no weaknesses. Yes, you really, like, it could wear you down. It had pressure. So, like, if you just had to try to overpower it, it could knock out some of the power points on some of your best moves. Spiritomb is such a cool lead Pokemon. I love it for that reason. The iconic lore, it has the 108 souls trapped within the odd Keystone. That's what gives it that amazing, amazing lore. And, of course, if you have been following our Arceus playthrough, you know we have been going through this side quest. We have been trying to find all of its souls scattered about Hisui. And we're going to be able to encounter Spiritomb eventually. We'll get there. Don't worry, kids. And so it has iconic rarity in both Generation 4 and in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I am finding, especially in our list today, the block that we have today, Legends Arceus is really pumping some of these Pokemon up because they get heavily featured in the original Gen 4 and in Legends Arceus. And in my opinion, Legends Arceus is one of the greatest Pokemon games of all time. So that really, really helps the Pokemon on this list. We love to see that. Great design. I mean, look at this thing. This looks like 108 souls trapped within a rock. It looks like a great Pokemon embodiment of that. It's weird, but it's spooky. Spiritomb rocks, baby. We love it. And there's a cool Spiritomb card. Where is it here? I do not remember what set it's in. Ooh, there's a shiny. Here it is. Oh yeah, so this is in Lost Origin. This is a trainer gallery card, and we see Vesa here from Legends Arceus. So this is a Spiritomb card specifically connected to Legends Arceus, which I love to see. It's only $1. Look at the great artwork you can get for $1.18. That is completely amazing, man. Some of these cards are very, very undervalued from the Sword and Shield era of the trading card game. So I just want to shout that out. And finally, I have been playing dumb for my Legends Arceus people, and I will continue to do so because I think it's funny. But there is a very, very, very high-profile battle with Volo near the end of Legends Arceus. And so if you're going to listen to my Legends Arceus playthrough, I'm still going to play dumb. But there is a big battle with Volo, and like Cynthia, he has a Spiritomb. That adds another great feather in Spiritomb's cap to be included on our list. So that is the big reason why I wanted to add a bunch of Legends Arceus spoiler warnings because I don't want to spoil Volo for people if they don't want it. All right. So Spiritomb is a very worthy Pokemon for this list. Honestly, being the lead Pokemon of Cynthia and its iconic rarity and lore that alone bumps it all the way up. Love Spiritomb. Great Pokemon. A personal favorite of mine, number 114. So, let's move on to number 113. And here we have Rapidash. Rapidash was a Pokemon that I did not have on the list, and it became a very, very fast riser because Rapidash is featured on so many Gym Leader and Elite Four teams, and I didn't really realize it. And it is really kind of an underdog story for Rapidash because it's such a simple design, and I feel like it kind of fades into the background in some of those iconic early fire types. But Rapidash is such a great Pokemon, and that design is simple, but it's so elegant. I love Rapidash. So let me talk to you about it. Original horse Pokemon. Again, like Arbok, cannot understate that. When they're just like, let's design a horse Pokemon, they went with Rapidash. Love it. It gets a great regional form. It got this regional form in the Gen 8 game Sword and Shield. And while I was disappointed that it wasn't a Pegasus Pokemon, this Rapidash here is a Psychic and Fairy type. I still think it's super cool. I had it on my original Shield playthrough. And going for the kind of very majestic, mystic My Little Pony vibe, I think also suits it well. I think this is a cool companion to the original Rapidash. I think Galarian Rapidash is underrated in my opinion. Oh my gosh, okay. So Zucifer just gave us a nice fun fact. Rapidash is apparently the fastest land ride Pokemon in the Let's Go games. If you didn't know this, we'll get to Let's Go eventually. You can ride certain Pokemon around in the overworld, which is so cool. Let's Go is super underrated to me. And Rapidash is the fastest Pokemon that goes on land. Oh, hi, JJ. Thanks for being here. Yes, Rapidash is classic. I talked earlier about where Rapidash was featured on a lot of Gym Leader and Elite Four teams. So to start out with, Rapidash is featured on Blaine's original Kanto team, Red, Blue, and Yellow. It's featured on there. It's great. We love it. But Rapidash is also the ace Pokemon of Blaine in his Generation 2 appearances, Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So it is a key Pokemon of Blaine in Gen 1 and Gen 2. Furthermore, in the Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum games and the remakes, the infamous remakes, it is a key member of Flint's team. And if you remember, we talked about Infernape earlier on this list. Rapidash and Infernape were the only Fire-type Pokemon that you could catch in the original Diamond and Pearl. So Rapidash was key for Flint's team, using that Flare Blitz. In addition, Rapidash is featured on Champion Trace's team in the Let's Go games. Trace's Champion team is kind of infamous for using not that strong a Pokemon, but you could tell that they really wanted him to use Pokemon that Blue did not use in the original Generation 1 game, so he kind of got the second tier of Kanto Pokemon. And again, Rapidash kind of gets forgotten, but on a Champion team, on multiple Gym Leader teams, on multiple Elite Four teams, on a Champion team, and then as an added bonus, your rival Bede in Sword and Shield, one of his key Pokemon is that Galarian Rapidash that we looked at. Love to see it. We have the... Oh my gosh. Ooh, yes, let's get into the TCG here. Because this is just an uncommon in the original Jungle set. But this artwork of Rapidash is just so regal and beautiful to me. I love this simple artwork of Rapidash. and it's very, very nostalgic to me seeing this in my binder. I love this artwork of Rapidash. It's in Jungle. Man, just so cool. Just so, so cool. But its Galarian form gets this great alternate art card. I do not remember what set this is in, but look how beautiful this is. That glowing horn leaning down among the flowers. We see the fireflies. This is not a card that I hear enough about. Like I said, I don't even know what set this is from. If you know this little symbol in the bottom left, please comment for me. But this Galarian Rapidash V is just so, so beautiful. And I really wanted to shout it out. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's look it up. Come on. What set is this from? It's from Chilling Reign. I did not know that. Okay, so this is from Chilling Reign. As you can see, it's pretty expensive. It's such a beautiful, beautiful card. And there is a Rapidash in, I think, Heat Wave Arena, which it will be Destined Rivals. Yes, I was correct. I actually picked up this card because it was pretty cheap. This Rapidash card, also great. It's kind of like a similar vibe as the Galarian Rapidash card, except this is its original Cantonian counterpart, kind of setting fire to the flowers. That is so interesting. So we have this Rapidash card setting fire to the flowers, but we have this Rapidash card kind of healing the flowers, helping them grow. Oh, I love that synergy there. So, Rapidash, a little bit underrated in terms of its TCG representation. And then for our last bits on Rapidash's resume, I wanted to talk about the race episode of the anime. Absolutely iconic. Ash is learning how to ride a Ponyta, and Ponyta burns him at first because Ponyta doesn't trust him, but if Ponyta trusts him, it will let him sit on that fire without burning him. And then in the middle of the race, Ash beats that jerk with his Dodrio because Ponyta evolves in the Rapidash on the home stretch. And it's so beautiful. Love that anime episode. That was another one on one of my tapes as a kid. Love that. And finally, another Arceus mention. I feel like Arceus has shown up in all of our entries so far, or most of them. The Alpha Rapidash is perhaps the first boss that you're going to encounter in that game. It is most likely the first Alpha Pokemon that you're going to run into. The first, static, always there Alpha Pokemon, I should say. And the Rapidash over there is iconic for that reason. It really introduces to you, oh man, we can encounter way more powerful Pokemon than us. We can wipe to this thing. It's at level 45 when you see it. Amazing. Looking at Rapidash's resume now, it could be higher. Man, at 113 we have Rapidash. Can't say enough good things about it. But let's go ahead and move on. We got a few more entries to go. Sorry folks, my throat's a little sore this weekend. Alright, so at number 112, we have Magneton. This was a lot like Rapidash, one of those maybe second-tier Generation 1 Pokemon that actually, when you inspected their resume, it was very, very strong. First and foremost, look at this. Magneton has a holographic card in the original TCG base set. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. You might think, Trent, it's got this weird, dated CGI artwork. I don't care. I love the way that this thing looks. I love the hollow pattern in the background. It's got that shadowless... Oh, my gosh. I love this Magneton card. Really wanted to shout this out. Any Pokemon that has an original base set holo in the TCG is probably going to be on this list, if we're going to be honest. Really want to shout that out. Iconic design. When you think about kind of like an inanimate object Pokemon, it it's, again, simple elegance. A lot of these early Gen 1 Pokemons have a simple elegance to their design. Rapidash has that. Magneton has that. You might think it's just 3 Magnemites pulled together, but when you think that they are magnet Pokemon coming together to form something new, it's really, really cool. And in the original Gen 1 games, it gained a type. Not in Gen 1. In Gen 1, it was just electric type, but in Generation 2, it gained that steel type, which makes perfect sense. And I talked about this with Magnezone in our playthrough of Platinum because we decided to use one, but I really have begun to appreciate Magnezone's design. I did not like it at first, but when you think about it, it's kind of like rather than just magnets coming together, it actually begins to meld together. And that is a pretty reasonable jump to make if you're trying to make an evolution for Magneton. But again, Magneton kind of absorbs the resume of Magnezone. I think Magneton is the most iconic Pokemon. Magnemite even has a holographic in Neo Discovery, I'm almost positive. So this line gets a lot of love. Talk about key features. I have not played Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Dark Time Sky. I have played some of the original Red and Blue Rescue Team for the Game Boy Advance. I am kind of interested in maybe playing the deluxe version of that for the Switch, just to maybe get some quality of life stuff. Thank you for not spoiling Zucifer. I really appreciate it. Because for this list, I can mention when Pokemon are kind of featured in some of those games, but I'm not as well versed in those games. But I appreciate you. We got a feature on Champion Blue's team, and this is kind of like another instance of it's only in Pokemon Yellow, because in the OG Red and Blue, Blue does not use a Magneton, but they wanted to give him a little something different for Yellow. So Magneton does get a champion feature, but also a really, really big feature for me as the ace Pokemon of Watson in Ruby and Sapphire. We played Emerald, where his ace Pokemon is Manectric, but in the original games, his ace is Magneton, and it was notoriously tough to beat because there wasn't much to use against that steel type, especially if you started with Grovyle. Man, it was brutal fighting this Magneton. And its Shockwave was so powerful. Anyway, I really remember Magneton fondly for that battle with Watson. Great feature in Pokemon Snap. You can kind of get Magnemite to come together and evolve kind of like on the spot. And I thought that was really, really cool. And that is how you're able to find Magneton in Pokemon Snap. Love that. Magneton's got a lot of good TCG moments. The first I showed off that base set holo. Also has a holo in Fossil, which is interesting. It gets a holo in both the original base set and the original expansion sets. So it gets a lot of love in the TCG. We have Lieutenant Surge's Magneton, which I think this artwork rocks. That sparkly holo pattern with the electrical surges, that looks great. This is one of my favorite Wizard of the Coast holos. Really, really love this one. But something I realized I did not list on our resume here is Magneton gets a Paradox form in Scarlet and Violet in the form of Sandy Shocks. Look here. This is like the primitive prehistoric form of Magneton, and it's like it's a ground electric type because it kind of walks along the ground. You can see that in this card here, the Sandy Shocks EX. And it kind of goes with that concept of kind of like those, what are those, like graphite shavings? Maybe not graphite, but you know what I mean. The stuff you'd find in like a Woolly Willy. That's kind of what Sandy Shocks is doing here. Oh, okay. Also, another good fact from Zucifer here. Magneton's one of the only Pokemon in the anime to have its shiny shown in the anime, which is super great. So that is so funny. I thought Magneton had a great resume without Sandy Shocks, but then it gets another great feather in its cap in Generation 9. Magneton, super worthy of this list. Love to see it. Again, this is kind of... Rapidash and Magneton are two very underappreciated Generation 1 Pokemon, and I'm happy to feature them on my list at number 113 and 112. Alright. A couple more entries here, kiddos. At number 111, we have Skarmory. Skarmory is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, and I was overjoyed to include it on this list. Really, when you look at Skarmory, you can go to its inclusion in Steven's team as really its main feather in its cap. I love its design, but when you consider that it is the iconic lead Pokemon for Steven's champion team in Ruby and Sapphire and his Super Boss team in Emerald, Skarmory is so iconic for that reason. A lot of people thought it was a Gen 3 Pokemon, actually, because of that, because it's pretty rare in Generation 2, which is super cool. And I mentioned that here. Rare Generation 2 encounter. So people kind of thought it was a Gen 3 Pokemon. So Skarmory really sticks in people's minds. Oh no! Well, I ruined it. Skarmory really sticks in people's mind for that reason. Sorry. Being connected to Steven, the iconic lead, that is really what's going to give Skarmory its spot here on this list. Yeah, I mean, dude, so many people thought... You are not alone. A lot of people thought Skarmory was Generation 3. Oh, and you played Emerald before Silver. That's interesting. We have this Neo Genesis Holo. Love this. Again, it's just the Sugimori art with holo pattern in the background, but I love the gray... but with kind of like the slashy red-blue where the words are here on this card. I love the way the old Dark and Steel cards looked when they were first introduced in the Neo sets in Wizards of the Coast. Love the way this card looks. It's featured in new Pokemon Snap, I remember. It's a really, really cool encounter, I think, in the ice area. But again, Skarmory's main points come in the form of Steven. It is a member of Skyla's team in the Generation 5 games, Gym Leader Skyla, a member of Winona's team in the Gen 3 games, and it also gets a feature on Elite 4, Amoris's team. She is a kind of Steel-type Elite 4 member in the Blueberry Academy, which we love to see. We already talked about the rare Generation 2 encounter and the Gen 3 connection. I think this design is iconic. The original Steel and Flying type, I prefer this design to Corviknight, even though I love both of their designs. I think they're both extremely inspired, and they're both very different. I think they both work super duper well. I love the sword wings. Oh my gosh. You are so right. Skarmory deserves a Mega or something. One of those people. Really, really deserves a Mega. Love Skarmory for that reason. Skarmory got a nice... that was in... Let me just type in Skarmory. Because Skarmory got a really nice card in one of the new sets. We love this. This is a really great piece of art in Neo Revelation. Love this. This artwork actually connects with a Lugia and Ho-Oh artwork in Neo Revelation. Oh my gosh, Surging Sparks. That's what it's in. Skarmory gets this really nice art card in Surging Sparks. Love to see it here. It gives off that shiny metallic look. And then the last one that I featured here on his resume is this set called Versus. That was a Japanese exclusive set that I'm actually collecting. It was a lot like Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge, except it's Japanese exclusive. And here, this is Falconer's Skarmory. This is a holographic card featured in that set, that very exclusive Japanese set. Really wanted to shout this out here. Love this card. Each gym leader got their own artist, so all of the other Falconer cards feature artwork pretty similar to the Skarmory. So really wanted to shout that out. Again, Skarmory is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time and a key Pokemon of Steven. So for that reason, it gets a placement on this list, number 111. Great number for it. All right, gang. So, I totally ruined it already. This is Trouble at Slowpoke Well, this song. But for our last Pokemon on our list today, we have our friend Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee at number 110. It is an iconic original fighting Pokemon. It is the kicking Pokemon. It is so great. It is an iconic gift Pokemon, along with Hitmonlee at the Fighting Dojo in the Generation 1 games. I am almost positive, yeah, we used the Hitmonlee in our yellow team. I really wanted to feature it for that reason. I always preferred Hitmonlee to Hitmonchan. It had a great episode in the anime where Ash takes his Primeape to fight in a fighting tournament. To try to win the champion belt, and Team Rocket kind of hijacks this person's Hitmonlee to try to defeat Ash's Primeape in the finals. That is a memory of mine that I hold dear. But the big thing for Hitmonlee, a lot of its stock, or a lot of its points are scored in Generation 1. Because it's an iconic original fighting Pokemon, you get that iconic gift from the dojo, and its main resume point, we have its feature on Bruno's Elite Four team in 3 generations, Gen 1, 3, and 8 in the Let's Go games. That is its big point. I will say, it has an iconic signature move gimmick, because Hitmonlee was the Pokemon that learned Jump Kick and High Jump Kick in the original Gen 1 games. And that signature move had the iconic gimmick of hurting you if it missed. Because it's just like, hey, it's jumping high into the air and it's really going all out to try to kick you with this thing, and if it misses, it's just going to crash. Which is super fun and funny, but kind of punitive. I love Hitmonlee for that. It does get a big boost in Generation 2 because it and Hitmonchan both get the baby Pokemon Tyrogue, which I think is super cute. Look at this little guy. It totally looks like a Pokemon that could evolve into either one of them. And the thing that I like most is that Hitmonlee gets a branch evolution in the form of Hitmontop. Hitmontop, again, is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I did not feel like I could include it on this list. I didn't think it quite had the resume for that. It does have a strong resume, but I kind of decided to feature Hitmontop on our list as a resume point for Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. So Hitmontop gets its shout out here. Did not get a spot on my list, even though it pains me. Pains me so. But you put all that together, and that's how Hitmonlee gets its spot on our list. Oh, last but not least, it gets a holographic card in Fossil. Hitmonlee has not had many other features in the TCG that I am aware of. But man, any Pokemon that gets this OG holo pattern from the original WotC sets, that's always going to sit great with me. And like, Hitmonlee is a great reminder of our list. Excuse me. Is a great reminder of the Pokemon on our list that just kind of accrue resume points as we go. And they are so iconic for their original iterations in Generation 1 and so forth that they have to earn a spot on our list of the greatest Pokemon of all time. They are the forebears. Hitmonlee, like Magneton or Rapidash or even Arbok, are Generation 1 staples that really deserve a spot on our list. And I hate to be a Gen 1er, but when you really look at the resumes and dive in, you have to include the fact that they were OGs. And with that, folks, thank you for being here with me today. I've loved going through this block of the 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. We are closing in on the top 100, and I cannot wait to get higher on the list to keep arguing with you. Thank you, Zucifer. Oh my gosh, it's always happy when you're here. Thank you for being here, friend. We will stream more this week. We'll have more Arceus. We should be finishing that up soon. It has been one of our more epic playthroughs on the channel. It has just given countless awesome moments. But I can't wait to finish it so we can continue with new stuff as well. With that, I'll see you this week. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next time. Peace, kids.